Today, I will initially just introduce you the overall framework what we utilized in the military, and then showcase how it can actually work here, and just do some exercises over here as well, just to get a better understanding of some of the principles and why they are. So a little bit of my background. So I spent 9 years in the military. 8 of that I was in the special forces. Did some deployments, stuff like that over that time. After that, I went to the defense industry. I sold some tanks in the Middle East for 3 years and in the Southern Europe. So I got the understanding of the civilian side connected with my previous life. And then eventually we founded a leadership company because we figured out that in our civilian experience that there is no foundation. In that sense, everyone has a different opinion how it's done, and we were taught very specifically how it can be done in the war, because you can't send people with theory to the battlefield. So you have to train them, and you have to have a pretty good methodology how to do that. So our overall team, it's not only me, we have about 20 people in our team. So we have to lead ourselves and our team as well every day. So we are making a lot of mistakes, so there's no perfect human. No perfect leadership or leaders. We are making mistakes the same way, but we just have a different way of doing it, maybe. In reality, it's the same thing. It just comes from a different place. And who we have? We have from Special Forces, from Intelligence Services, from Scouts Battalion. So we have about 8 veterans. I don't know. We have about 25, 30 deployments altogether amongst us. So we have been seeing a lot of different things from different perspective. And that's where all of that comes from. So initially, I want to kind of showcase or introduce you our previous office, and let's see what that looked like. You can't watch this video with a low volume. So, like your office, right?
Metallica is a good choice.
Huh?
Metallica is a good choice.
Absolutely, it is. You're correct.
Yeah.
That's a first good thing. I know that you're thinking the right way.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What does a combat environment look like? What's kind of the aspects that influence decision making, for example?
High stress.
Surely.
High stakes.
High stakes, sure.
Hostile environment.
Yes. Some people want to kill you.
Fast-paced.
Fast-paced. Yeah, pretty much most of them. So how we have put it is like fast changes, lack of information, lack of resources, high stress, and decisions have consequences. And regardless of how bad or good it is, you have to make a decision and move on. You have to do something. So what's the difference in your field?
Well, the big difference is that we have a choice to try to avoid this as far as possible.
Yeah, well, you have the same choice over there as well. Well, if you wouldn't have a choice, it would be someone else's control. But the training does it. Training is something which mitigates the environment. So it doesn't matter what the environment is. It's day, night, mountains, desert, whatever. It's still people there who need to be led. And the teamwork works in the same way. And yeah, maybe the feedback is not instant, or in the civilian world, maybe because in actual combat, like you get hit, you get the feedback. I got just hit. There's nothing you can do about it. I just got the feedback that I did something wrong or I was in the wrong place. And in the civilian world, sometimes it's like I'm stepping on a landmine, and in 3 months from now, my leg blows off. And then, okay, what did I do wrong? And especially the more strategic level leadership you go, the more it is like that. You don't even know what actually caused this leg to blow off. So it's pretty much the same in principle. Like it's same aspects that we have here. Life, you can get killed. You can go over the road and you're dead. You can get tired, you can crash the car. So mistakes have consequences. It's just a different way. So what's also similar is that we want the best talent. In my unit, what we wanted is that we need the best talent that Estonia had. And how did we measure the talent? That's maybe the question. Like there's different type of talents. And what we wanted is that we wanted to measure, it's like a 2-week interview. You go to the forest and you will be pushed to your limits. And what we want to understand is, are you a team player, number one? Or do you think about yourself? If you're thinking about yourself, it's not for you. This is for someone else. Then what do we have to do to make you give up? And there shouldn't be anything that you will give up on, especially in a training scenario. And then how do you act when you make mistakes? Not when everyone else makes mistakes, but when you make mistakes. How do you handle that? Are you able to handle losses? Because you will be put in places where you lose a lot. And the last one is that are you able to listen? Which means that you're able to learn. So why do we measure those 4 things? And nobody cares how you can shoot. Nobody cares about any of those other things. Why do you think we measure only those things? We don't care about how you put together PowerPoint.
They are difficult to train.
Yes, they take so much resources to change someone's mind. Like it's very difficult. But if you have the right mindset, you can train them in everything. Because they're willing to learn, they're willing to do and cooperate, and they're not giving up. So pretty much this would be also a perfect husband or wife. Let's not give up. Let's get through the dark times. Let's think about the team, and let's listen to each other. Pretty good talent. And no, you can't find it. You have to have an interview process for that for sure. So that's something which comes out through physical stress, and you will become who you are, and that's what you see. Now, what's different is that the training part, because in the civilian sector, you can go and hire some people from other companies, other countries, but in the military, you can't go to US, hey, you have great generals, here is a nice paycheck, come over, start leading our army. Doesn't work like that. So you have to train your people from zero, which means that the methodology is very efficient and it's learned from the other armies who are our allies, and they have done it a lot. So what is it about? It's about practice. Leadership is about practice. It's not about theory. It's about practice and someone demonstrating it to you how you actually should do it and how you actually the team should work in a practical level. You probably have played a board game. Someone reads you the rules. That's cool. Nobody understands how to play. So it doesn't matter how much reads. Then someone says, okay, let's start playing. Then we start learning. And then the intent is that the person who's teaching you this, you will become a better player than the person teaching you. Like you are training better people than you. You're just giving everything you have to the person, and you make them make mistakes that I have made on a battlefield. So that's why the rules or the training and all the things that are written in military doctrines are written with blood. Because someone made the mistakes, and now I'm telling you how I lost my buddies, so you wouldn't maybe get into that situation. But the only way for you to learn is that you have to make your own mistakes. It's not like, so this is what we do on onboarding. So it's an onboarding process, and half of the people get cut out from here as well. So it's a very good filtering system because you have to be prepared for the real life. So in the interview, we want you to provide us the will and showcase yourself. But now if we start onboarding, then we put and invest in you. We try to do everything to make you good. So we have to teach them the main stuff, main basics, which is shoot, move, and communicate. And the communication part, I think, is the toughest one, because you have to be able to communicate with your team. And if you don't know how to do that, you're very useless. Doesn't matter what you're expert at. I'm expert in explosives, but I don't know how to communicate to my commander. I don't know how to communicate to my Afghani buddies. It's very useless. So I have to be really good at communicating. And that's a practical thing. And nobody has taught that, how to build a relationship, how to do those kind of things, and that's important in teamwork. So the third aspect is the culture. And the culture is what the Special Forces kind of invented, and it's been out there, but Chaco, SEAL guy, he was able to word it in a very simple way. And that's the framework we now utilize here as well. We did it the same way in our own unit, we just were not able to word it so simply as he did. So what it's about, and it's the culture, what actually is the thing why actually people want to join this kind of job. Nobody wants to go through that interview, but there is something there that people want to go there. So it's the culture, and it's from two sides. It's the principles that you can't obey. If you obey them, you will lose as a team on a battlefield. And then the other thing is mindset, how every person in a team should be thinking of. And number one rule for every team in combat is that we need to cover each other. Because if we're all moving and nobody's shooting at the enemy, they will be shooting at us and we were easy targets, so we can't move. So we constantly have to put the enemy under pressure, so they will stuck down, so we can move. And then we can maneuver to them and actually kill them or whatever. So that's what it is. It's principle. It's just movement. Someone has to cover all the time. So first, I'm going to be thinking how I can cover you, not that I will start running and then think, okay, who's covering for me? It's the vice versa. So we're always thinking of that. That's in the same way. There's no winners in a team if the team is losing. If team loses, everyone loses. And in a team, in an organization, every department is one team. So it's very good that we have a great sales team. But if the delivery doesn't deliver tanks, it's very useless that I promised to my customer to provide those things. So we have to work together, we have to go and cover for them. And same applies everywhere. So the enemy is not inside. In Afghanistan, here in Europe, the enemy, we know where it is. It's in the east. So as long as we are fighting with each other, we are not covering each other, enemies clapping their hands. That's good, awesome. Fighting each other. So that's number one. We have to understand that we are a team. It's like you're getting married, signature. We are a team now. That's what we have to work with, and that's what we have. Second one is that we have to have a plan, and it has to be simple. Otherwise, we don't know what we're going to do, and we as humans are able to do things very complicated ways. We don't understand each other. Especially, we don't understand where we want to go. Everyone has their own intent. Everyone has their own agenda. So we have to make it same way. So how do we do it in the military? We have to have the same purpose and the end state. So that's what the intent, commander's intent means. It has to have a purpose, why we do it, and the end state, where we go and how do we measure it. And then the method, how do we get from why to the end, we let the team choose it, because they are the specialists. I need to get through this wall. Why? Because, and what the success looks like is that we are on the other side of the wall and we are killing the enemy, whatever. That's the intent. Now, if I tell to my explosive specialist that you should do it like this over there and like that, then I'm micromanaging him. So they need to know, they will figure out the method how to get through this wall, because they're experts on that anyways. And we need to sell, they have to do the plan, because then we don't have to communicate to them. And that's what understanding the plan is. If someone in the team doesn't understand the plan, it's not simple enough. And that's the bottom line. And how it was done easily in our team is that when our commander had to brief a higher commander, then sometimes the higher commander did a trick, said, okay, I know that you know the plan. So you go sit down, and you're the most junior guy, you come and present it. What did it make? It created us an environment where we had to make such a simple plans that everyone in the team understand how to brief it. Because it's all about the intent. Because if something goes wrong, and we plan and plan and plan for a week, when does a plan go wrong? Straight away. Doesn't matter how long you plan. You can plan for a week, you can plan for an hour, it goes wrong for sure, so you have to adapt finally. So that's why we need to understand that plan is nothing, but planning is everything, and the planning part is the most important part, and we have to leave from this room, everyone has to understand what's up. Then we start moving, then obstacles start coming. There is something happening, I can't get by it. So everyone has to understand how to prioritize. Can you prioritize if you don't know where you go? Quite difficult. If I don't know that I have to go to Tartu. So if something happens, how based on what I prioritize? So I have to understand the plan first and the intent, and then I can actually start thinking which thing is the most important at the moment. So in military, there is a standard operating procedure. Like everyone knows how to do X, Y, Z, how to maneuver if enemy is on the flank, how to do if enemy is on the right. So it's a SOP, standard operating procedure, like a sales guy has. Phone, you say hello, you say your name, you ask what's up. Like there's a procedure, everything. But what happens if if it's a non-standard situation? Based on what do you make decisions? What's the first thing you should be thinking of?
Objective.
No,
Experience,
no,
feelings.
no,
Feelings.
no, no. It's always time. Number one is time. How much time do we have? If a fire alarm goes off, yeah, we can think of the purpose as long as we want, but how much time do we have? Because if sometimes there is so little amount of time that we just have to do whatever whatever the first instinct. And it's based on the training we have, but then that's what we need to do. Understand and assess how much time do we have to get out from this room if we need to get out. The second one is that what's the purpose, and then state. Okay, why we are here and where we need to end up. And the third one is the relationships. Because if the fire alarm goes off, and I understand that we have 1 minute, and I understand that I need to get out from here, and that's a good end result. And if I'm not thinking about who to take with me from here, who to save, and I'm thinking only about myself, if I come back tomorrow and all the other people get saved, then it's a very bad relationship. Because I'm thinking about myself. Getting out here fast, saving my own ass. But we need to consider all the time which relationship we are breaking, which relationship we want to improve. So if we don't think about that, we will end up in a bad situation because relationships are the key to teamwork. If you have bad relationships and we are ruining it constantly in a time of crisis, then that's very bad eventually. So we have to all the time take that into our decision making. And the last one is decentralized command. And what it means that one man can't be a leader. One man can't be the decider of everything. Someone, yes, can give me the intent, but how do we accomplish it? If there is something changing, someone has to make a decision. If I'm here and my team is in another room, they can't call me, hey, who do we shoot? I don't know. I'm not there. If I'm in the Middle East, behind the table, and we have a negotiation, I have to understand how to negotiate. Why did I come here? What's the parameters I'm playing in? What can I make? What decisions can I make? I have to understand those things. Now if I stand up, okay, 10 million, 5 million, okay. So, boss, which one we will do? They will understand straight away that, okay, you're not going to decide anything. There's someone else, somewhere else who is deciding. So we need to give that, and what we will win is time. If there's one guy going home, you need to take out the garbage, you need to get the car to the maintenance, you have to take your kids to the school, all the kind of things. It takes a lot of time for one person. But when I teach my child that, hey, this is a garbage pan, if we don't take it out, it will be a mess over here. There will be a lot of flies flying around. So what has to happen is that someone has to take it out. What the winning looks like, we have a clean garbage can with a clean whatever bag, and the garbage is outside. Now that is your task. And maybe they don't know, but we can actually teach them. And then eventually we'll choose whatever method, throw it out from the window, take it down to the actual place, but they will choose, and I can actually free time. So I can do something with it. And the same things apply in everything. We have to teach our people how to make decisions so I don't have to be there all the time. Because otherwise I will be the yes man and micromanager who everyone is calling. If I go to the vacation, I should just send, I'm now in hospital. You can't reach me for a month. And then you can check if you have reached this place. Because as a leader, you have to work yourself out from your position. Eventually, if you're doing a great job, you're not needed anymore because your team works. Someone else is taking over because you're always building someone who's taking over after you. So the mindset, extreme ownership. Everything that happens, it's on me. Regardless, if I'm the leader, guess what? Who's responsible? Me. If I have a boss, I'm responsible of him failing. If I have a pair and they are doing something wrong, it's on me. So every team member has to take ownership of everything. There is no buts and whys and excuses. It's all about you. Something's wrong, I know who's to blame, and I will start figuring out things. That's where everything starts. So there's no blaming. Then it's default aggressive attitude. If there is a problem, I'm going to solve it. I'm not aggressive against everyone in terms of relationships, but I'm aggressively solving problems because we need to gain momentum, especially on battlefields, because if we lose it, then enemy has it, and we are now reacting, and we don't want to react because we are not in control. We want to constantly be on an attacking position. Then we constantly have to innovate and adapt, which means that we have to be open-minded. Because guess what? Situation is changing constantly. There is no like, okay, this is how it is, and now that's it. COVID comes, we can't do X, Y, Z, market changes, we need to adjust. If we don't, no, we have always done it like this. Let's do it like this. This doesn't work. And humility. That's the most important leadership attribute that there is. Because if you fell in love in yourself and you think that you're the smartest guy in the room, that's a very bad thing for a team. And if you are the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. You should find a new place to be. Or then do something about it to teach them to be better. But if ego is the biggest team killers of all the teams, and that's why it's very easy, because the training in those units and war, if you are arrogant, it will make you humble. You don't have to worry about it. You will get killed, someone else gets killed. Sadly, it's the results that matter. But if you think you're smarter than your enemy, you're not. If you overestimate or underestimate, that's on you. So no team is built by being arrogant. And I mean, everyone gets humbled. Even Steve Jobs, he lost his own job in Apple. Yes, he was a genius. Most of the people are not geniuses. But if you act like a genius, that's not really good. And you're not building a relationship, and relationship building is the foundation. And the last kind of mindset the soldier has to have is that discipline equals freedom. Nothing happens in a day. Everything is a constant grind until you die. Then at the ending learns, or ending stops. But until that, you need to maintain freedom. You had to fight for a freedom every day, and now you have to maintain it. If we now go and sit on a couch, then the big friend in East, they come and do something. So we have to constantly stay disciplined, even if it's good times, because we get complacent. And in general, what it means that everyone in a team has to lead. Because there will be time where there will be, your leader will not be around, and someone has to make a decision. So everyone has to understand the baseline principles of how to lead, because someone has to support leader. Leadership is not something that comes from top down. It goes up, it goes left, it goes right, it goes every direction. And you have the ability to influence people. Now, it's very awesome that we have a great talent, we have a great training, we have awesome culture. But if you go to war, we don't understand if it works. So that's why we need to go to the real environment, because you can teach a lot of things in a school, but if you don't go to work in a real business, then you don't understand what it's all about. And that could be a problem with some of the, I don't know, professors who have been all the time in notebooks, and they know best how economy works, stuff like that. But it's different from the experience on a field. So if you go to war, then you start making mistakes. And those mistakes, they have to be now transitioned into your onboarding, into your training. So in the beginning, there should be a list of mistakes we have made so that the other people who are coming in, they wouldn't make those mistakes. And there should be also a behavior. What kind of behavior we should change? So what makes the best of the best? What do you think? Elite units. What do they do? What's different about them? They execute, for sure.
The mindset?
Absolutely. Number one is the mindset. Second thing is relationships. You have to have a good relationship. You have to have a feeling that everyone over here, they will die for me, and I will die for them. That's what the cover and move means on a very deep level. Now, when don't we cover for each other, it has to be also clear. If you do something criminal, and you plant a weapon on a person, a civilian that you killed, we will be your worst enemy and we will put you in prison. But if you're in a bar fight and we don't know, we will come because we don't know what's happened. And you're our brother, and that's it. And then we will deal with the consequences later. But it's about good relationship and doing things for each other. That's what we have to have. And as we are doing mistakes all of our life, we need to train ourselves based on the mistakes we make. So all the time we need to constantly be training, because we're making mistakes and we need to learn from them. Which means that if we have a right mindset, good relationship, and right training, there's no problem that doesn't get solved. And you can throw a problem at a team, whatever team, with the right mindset, good relationship, it doesn't matter. They will solve it. Yeah, it might not be the fastest solution, it might not be the best solution, but they will get after it. And that's what we need. We need to be in moving, because it's better to be moving than do nothing. You don't learn anything. And that's the point. Do you have any questions on this first part?
No, it's all clear.
It's all clear.
How does it apply to like office environment?
Exactly the same way.
How do you cover in office?
Like this. Hey, what time you have to go? What time you have to go home? Oh, you had to get
At 3.
at 3. So I will take care of from 3 to 5. No problem.
Thanks.
Whatever it is. Okay, you have problems at home? All right,
Yeah,
we have a conversations, we're building a relationship, we help each other. That's what team does. If you have a problem, it's my problem. If I figure out the problems over here, they become my problem. Doesn't matter if I'm in a leadership position or not. As a leader, I'm responsible. I'm the person with the biggest power behind the resources. I can allocate resources because I'm able to be detached and see a bigger picture. I see that, okay, there is a bigger hole, bigger fire. Hey, let's put some resources over there. But someone has to give me feedback. And that's how the covering means. It's like supporting each other. The problem is that it's very difficult.
To achieve.
Yes, because it's human beings who we're dealing with, and egos and stuff like that. So you need to be pretty good at understanding.
So army is not so pyramid organization, because you talk about decentralized power, you say that everybody can be a leader. The image of the army where you have
the unsuccessful armies are.
Okay.
But successful ones, they are not.
Okay. So
Because yes, you're able to make decisions. And I mean, it's not like a perfect world. But if you think of the special forces are like a scalpel, surgical knife. And you need to do strategic things with a very small amount of resources with an open mind. And one of the examples would be like in Syria, there was a need to deliver a package and extract a person. And the general came and gave a brief, hey, you have to jump out from the airplane, you go into the water, you go down, then you come up, you go to the beach, then you go to a forest, there is a car, you drive that in, you pick up, you put the package down, you put the guy on the vehicle, you come back the same way. Great plan. And you can do it. You can go and do it if you want. It seems to be a really great plan. But we want to have a decision, or we want to have a say in the way we die. And what eventually happened is that those guys, they took a taxi, they put the package on a taxi, sent the taxi, they let the guy sit on a taxi, and $500 later, it was done. That's the operation. But yeah, if you think like a hammer, you are a hammer. But you can't think like a hammer. And especially in the front line, because there is no order during a war. It's chaos. You don't see where the enemy is. You don't know what's going on. Something is raining, something is dropping. It's chaos. So it works in a regular controlled environment where the buttons are shiny and everything is cool. But if you go on the battlefield, it doesn't apply anymore. Those kind of autocratic people, they will fail so badly because they will die so soon because they don't listen. And if you're alone there and not listening, then it's very bad for you.
Do you see a difference between cultures when you're out, like between people from the north and south and east and west and
Sure.
male, female, and how do you manage to handle that?
Yeah, it's difficult. But it depends. It depends on how. Different people require different tools. Like we have like a human intelligence background, and you need to. What's the word? Recruit agents. A person who spies on other person's country. Like, how do you recruit that person? You have to understand the psychology. You have to have a toolbox. How to elicit, how to get other information, how to please the ego, how to make them shine, how to lower it down. Like if someone has a huge ego, it's a good way of, what's his biggest weaknesses? Themselves. They love to talk about themselves. They love to hear good things about themselves. They love to shine. So there are techniques how you can utilize that. So culture makes a huge difference. Like if you talk about Middle East, it's totally different. Like I can go and talk all day long, but it doesn't work. The people understand this, but they are not able to change it because it's so much ingrained in their culture. But most of the European cultures, I wouldn't say that it's just basics. And if you put them through some simulated combat environments and scenarios for a whole day, give you weapons, doesn't matter what country you are from, doesn't matter what your culture is, you will understand that these things actually make sense because you put into there. If you're sitting over here, yes, you don't understand because it's theory. But if you give them situations where they've never been in, and now you have to showcase, hey, you have 15 minutes to go and capture this target, and this is the team you have, and you have to do it, then who you are brings out, and you are able to improve based on the mistakes you make. And the only thing you have from left to right is your team. So there is difference, but those are all, at least in Europe, I would say, they are not a problem or something that stands in line. Because Estonians, we thought that Estonians are the most difficult one because they are very like living inside. Most of the Estonians, they're like stone people. Like you have to drink 3 beers and then we start talking, not before. But that's the way. And Finnish are the same. Like they need some space.
Yeah, it's rude to talk with the neighbor. Yeah. For your own life.
Like during the COVID time, there was this joke where Estonia, when there was like this 2-meter zone, and we were relieved because we can go back to the 4 meters. So that's the thing. But you have to take those into account into your decision making, and there is always a optimal way which has the biggest percentage of succeeding. You never know if it succeeds. You can do everything right, it doesn't work. You can do everything wrong, it works. But if you would have a simulator machine, then definitely this is a simulator machine because it's used in war. And some countries don't use it, and they have huge casualties, as you know. They have this pyramid type of leadership, and that's what's the answer. But even they adapt. Even if the top doesn't, the front line has to. It just adapts through mistakes. And yeah, dead people.
Maybe some questions around methods or how to call it agree on goals or methods. So this also beautiful in theory. In practice, there are many ways to skin a cat, and it's not obvious which one is the best. So how does one convince a team what that one way is to do it so that everyone executes the same plan? Obviously, if you don't execute the same plan, it's not
so usually, if I can't agree, like usually I have brilliant ideas.
So do I.
But it turns out that I'm not able to talk with you and explain you my brilliant idea for some reason.
You have that problem too.
Obviously. and there is some kind of, I don't know. So what should I take from this? That he doesn't usually if I tell him brilliant idea, he says yes. Awesome. It sounds like a brilliant idea. But now, what can I do? I can go back to my backboard and start thinking through, hey, maybe there is something wrong with my idea. And now, what's the difference between your idea and my idea? Like, for example, I want you to have I want the team to have a plan. Like, I don't know, how to get out from this building. Who do you think should come up with the best idea here? Or who comes up with the best idea?
The janitor.
But over here.
People work here.
Sure. But who could come up with a minimum viable plan to get out from this building?
All of us?
Yes. So pretty much it doesn't matter whose plan we're going to go with. It's going to fail anyways. We need to adjust anyways. So it's very likely that you have specialists that actually know very similar answer to you, your plan. Maybe you have some different things. But if I only gave you a task to get out from this building, it will take 10 minutes for you to decide which way to do and whose plan to decide with. And that's most of the time. It's rather just, okay, your plan sounds like it could work. Now, have you thought about this? Like, on this map, you want to enter this building from this way, but here is a hill. Have you considered this? Oh, okay, I haven't. Or, wait, because this sounds outrageous. But if there is no other way, then that's the plan. But it has to be like minimum viable plan. Does it minimally work? Because if you start executing, then there is something that will go wrong anyway. We go outside, there's no elevator. What do we do? So we should be able to get to a common solution. If not, it means that we have such a huge egos and emotions. So we need to have some sort of checklist for that, which is obviously available. Is it helping me or the team that we're arguing? How much time do we have? Time is the biggest dictator. And usually, how long does it take to solve a problem?
Too long?
Sure. In today, it will take as long as I give you. Like if I give you 5 minutes, then you have a solution in 5 minutes. If I give you an hour, then it would be the same solution, but it would take an hour.
So the problem is then when you have you always have a time constraint, but
yes, but if you don't, then that's the problem. Or if you have a too big one.
you can spend 8 hours in a meeting for.
Because the enemy is maneuvering. And the more we are just sitting here and talking, then the enemy is already doing things, and we are not able to do it. And we have experience. So it's very likely that we will have quite a good decision, at least to start moving, because there will be things that we need to adjust.
Done is better than perfect, is that?
Absolutely, 100%.
And so time constraint is an advantage also under some way.
It is an advantage, in my opinion, because we tend to overthink things. But it takes training. Like you have to understand, like the planning, it's something which we trained a lot. Just understanding each detail, then we know what to cut. All right, let's do a short break, 5 minutes. Okay? All right.
Time constraint.